What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're here to talk about the newest development within WWE ID, because they have just announced the WWE ID Championships. So, for those unaware, WWE ID is the new sort of, or newish, I guess, WWE sort of talent development and recruiting and scouting system, I guess is what you'd call it. They announced it back, I think in October, I want to say. I made a video about it here on the channel. And it's just basically, it's a way for WWE to essentially keep their claws on independent talent so they don't go anywhere else. However, if we want to be impartial, we're not going to take the anti-competition look at the ID program, which I think and kind of see it as being. It is essentially just a scouting and talent development and talent support network for independent professional wrestlers to eventually sort of get away into the WWE system. I'm fairly sure I read online that with the ID deals, WWE will basically give talent money, I guess, essentially. They'll help cover expenses and things for talent, things like that. They'll obviously promote their matches more. They offer a sort of a real legitimate path into the NXT system. And I believe I read somewhere that signing a WWE ID contract doesn't necessarily mean you can't work in certain places, but it means if WWE don't want you to, they have the right of first refusal. And it also means if you're offered a contract from somewhere, that WWE have the right to match it, and if they match it, obviously you sign with WWE. Again, it's not a program I'm a massive fan of. I think it's quite cut and dry, that it's a way to sort of thin out the indies and the talent pool for other promotions without actually giving full contracts and benefits to independent professional wrestlers. But I've already said my piece on that. Some of the names who have been ID'd are up-and-coming indie stars such as Ice Williams and Cappuccino Jones, as well as more established names on the independent scene like Kylie Ray, and I believe also Timothy Thatcher is currently under an ID deal, which is crazy to me considering he was just in WWE not that long ago. However, we're not here to talk about the talent in WWE ID. We're here to talk about the recent news for WWE ID. As mentioned at the start of the video, the new WWE ID Championships. So earlier today then, in a tweet, or I guess a post on X, Triple H tweeted saying, "The top independent wrestling prospects have been ID'd, and now we're ready to spotlight the best of the best. Here's your first look at the men's and women's WWE ID Championships." With these two championships here, obviously you got a black strap on the men's one, you got a white strap on the women's one. Just your standard sort of WWE affair. Two championships, one black strap, one white strap. That was then quoted by the official WWE ID account, saying the first WWE ID champions will be determined in a tournament across the top independent wrestling promotions. The WWE ID Championships will then be defended on the indies. Stay tuned to this account for more news soon. Now, it's going to come as no shock, considering I've been fairly negative on the WWE ID program since its announcement, that I'm not the biggest fan of this. For a number of reasons, and it kind of does come down to a lot of my kind of worries regarding the WWE ID system at the start, which is, it is a way to, I don't want to say kill the indies. I really don't like coming on here and being negative about professional wrestling. We all know I don't like coming on here and being negative about professional wrestling. I think especially as well, considering my last video was a very stand up for AEW video, even though it wasn't really, because I just said it's dumb that people are shouting about the ring. But I don't think this is great for... I do think the WWE ID program has its benefits for the wrestlers, and it's helping independent wrestlers make more money, and it gives independent wrestlers something to strive for that's not just out and out a contract. And obviously, as much as I'm kind of down on the WWE ID program for kind of where I can see it going bad because of my memories of NXT UK and things like that, I still do think if it's done well, that is good for the independent scene, and it is obviously good for the independent professional wrestlers. But these championships, to me, is where the issue now lies. So, we are having tournaments to determine the first WWE ID champions. Fair enough, that'll be kind of held between all of your sort of main and established and already signed WWE ID names. Of course, that's obviously going to happen. It's going to be held in, I would imagine, places like Beyond and some other independents across the places that, you know, the companies have set up and where the guys are kind of established there. And that's good and that's fine. And in terms of a tournament, we know how I feel about tournaments. And if we don't know how I feel about tournaments, I love tournaments in professional wrestling. But my main issue with this kind of comes from what happens next. Because realistically, this then robs every promotion of unpredictability when they book a WWE ID talent, especially if they book the WWE ID champion. Say you're running your indie in wherever, I don't know, South Florida. And let's say my dog, my king, my glorious GOAT, Cappuccino Jones, wins the inaugural WWE ID Championship. And say a couple months before you've booked Cappuccino Jones to come down to your indie promotion and wrestle your company's champion. And before that, you were like, we'll bring in Cappuccino Jones, he's WWE affiliated, that'll get some people through the door, he's a name with a bit of buzz around him, that'll get people in the door. He'll wrestle our champ, we'll have a good match, and then our champ will retain the championship, and Cappuccino Jones will then go back to wrestling around, and he'll have a good match, and then we'll have got some good PR on our company. If Cappuccino Jones comes in with the WWE ID Championship, WWE aren't going to want him to lose to just a little indie guy that's not ID affiliated. So it's robbing these companies of abilities to tell good stories with these wrestlers. And when this was introduced, I imagine this was always probably the plan, to have these championships as a way to, when these guys go to these indies, to go, this guy is in WWE, kind of, and he's got the belt to show that he's the best guy that WWE want to come through one day, maybe. But again, it kind of comes back to the NXT UK of it all. Now, in 2019, we're actually, I believe we're on 6 years since the Pac Walter 30-minute draw in Dublin. When Walter was the NXT UK champion, he was obviously allowed to do independent shows, but he was never allowed to lose on those shows because he was the WWE NXT UK champion. And in certain companies that he had history in, and being in OTT where he had a lot of history, that's completely fine. But again, also with that, there are a lot less promotions in the UK and Ireland and Europe where these guys were going to. So when Walter was coming in and he was having 30-minute time limit draws, or he was beating Name Redacted, and, you know, Name Redacted was standing on the belt and then Walter would kill him and fucking choke him out or whatever, that was all well and good because he had sort of pre-existing relationships and stories within this company and had been in these companies for a while. But with, you would imagine, the WWE ID money and financial incentives helping a lot of these younger independent wrestlers be able to do this full time now, they're going to want to go to new promotions and new companies. And if they just go in and beat the top guy, or if they just go in and go to a draw with the top guy, or they just go in and beat the top guy in a non-title match and then don't come back for a while, it robs these companies of allowing their stars to grow naturally. And fair enough, it's good if you then put them in a match with the WWE ID guy, because that thing gets promoted on ID's Twitter, and it puts more eyes on your company, and it puts more eyes on the wrestler involved. But it will no doubt come to the ID champ can't lose. So then we're back to square one, because if WWE ID is really about supporting the growth of the independent professional wrestling scene, which it's not, but they at least want to pretend that it may be about supporting the growth of the independent professional wrestling scene in the United States of America, it's not going to work like that. And before the WWE ID program has really been allowed to get off the ground properly and sort of grow or outgrow its infancy and take on a life of its own and become its own thing, and you know, guys want to get ID'd and look at all these avenues that it can open up, it's before it's really got off the ground floor, it's become sort of insular and inward and claustrophobic almost immediately. And I don't think that is good for the talent involved who aren't ID'd. I don't think it's particularly good for whoever's holding the ID championship, because it kind of robs them of the ability to go to new places and tell interesting stories in these companies. At least that's what the cynic in me says. Look, I want all wrestling to succeed. I want I want most wrestlers to succeed. There are a few who I am preying on their downfall. And you know, I think that I have my worries about WWE ID, but I can obviously see the upside to a lot of it. But I kind of struggle to see the upside to having these championships, other than someone being able to say they're a WWE champion and a promotion being able to say they're booking a WWE champion. But out with the sort of promoting side of this and the how many tickets can we sell for our independent show or whatever, or how much can I charge for a booking or whatever, I don't really see a massive upside to the existence of these championships. But, you know, that's just me. Maybe I'm just being a little whiny bitch on the internet. But that's all I got for today. I just wanted to come on and talk about this just because it was announced 2 hours ago at the time of recording. So it'll be yesterday by the time this video goes out. It's, like I say, I'm hopeful for this, and I want this to do well, and I have nothing but love and respect and well wishes for all the talent who have been ID'd, all the talent who are trying to get ID'd, all the talent who will get ID'd, all the talent who aren't even looking to get ID'd but are going to get a massive boost from wrestling these people. I want nothing but the best for them and for this program. But again, it does kind of, to me, come back to the anti-competition stance and the fairly fresh memories of NXT UK and what that eventually became for Brit Rest. But obviously only time will tell. We don't know right now. We don't even have an ID champion. It was announced 2 hours ago, like I said. But I just wanted to come on here and kind of make my opinions known and get that out. So that's all for me today. Let me know what you think of this down below in the comments. Let me know what you think about ID, the ID Championships. Do you think I'm just being too defeatist and too sort of cynical? Do you think I have some valid points? Let me know what you think down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Show this to all your friends and say, look at this handsome man with good wrestling opinions. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.